conducted the first nationally representative survey of generative AI usage at work and at home. And what we found is that in August, 39.4% of people said they used generative AI. We said, okay, we want to compare the speed of adoption of generative AI to a bunch of other things that turned out in retrospect to be a pretty big deal. That is the personal computer. We date the beginning of the personal computer to 1981 when IBM released its first IBM PC. That's the first personal computer to sell more than 1 million units. And then the internet is the other big technology. We've heard of that. The internet, that's kind of the base layer on which generative AI is built in the first place. And we date the beginning of the internet to about 1995. That's when the National Science Foundation decommissioned the internet, let commercial traffic use it. And that's also when Netscape had its initial public offering that went, to the moon. So we figured that's the beginning of the internet. And we say, well, 3 years after the beginning of the internet, how many people were using the internet? It turns out it's about 30%. So internet, we date to 1995. By 1998, about 30% of people said that they use the internet. That's data from the current population survey. And then for personal computers, 3 years after the IBM PC, about 20% of people said they had a PC. And you compare that to our number, if you remember what I told you a bit ago, 2 years after the release of ChatGPT, 40% of people said they were using generative AI. So if you date each of those three technologies, personal computers, the internet, and generative AI, to the beginning of their first mass market product, we find that generative AI adoption has actually been faster than the other two. Now, there are lots of caveats to that. You might say, well, look, it cost like $5,000 to buy a personal computer back then. It was a big piece of hardware. Not everyone can do it, whereas ChatGPT is just a subscription if you want to use it, or you can actually just use it for free. But still, it just shows it's going to be a pretty big deal, because basically almost everybody at this point uses a personal computer. Almost everybody uses the internet. And so if generative AI looks like it's going to be those other things, then basically within a decade, more people than not are going to be using it regularly. So that means it's just going to be everywhere in our lives. I would love to hear from you. What are the questions you'd like to ask on a survey like this? If you had another crack at it, what do you want to know about how people are using generative AI, how much they're using it, what they're using it for? Maybe we'll add it to the next survey. It'd be fun. So thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.